I live in my car. My car is my home. So that shouldn't have been open liquor anyway. And you guys must have liquor around your house, probably all kinds of liquor. I'm sure you got liquor at your home. Cops pull you over in your house. How's that open liquor?
What's happening? Welcome to Slammers Weekly. This is the 8th edition of the podcast. My name is Cole Clark. I am coming to you from La Crosse, Wisconsin today. I am still working my way across the country on this road trip. Beau is somewhere off the road there up in New Jersey. He just had a long run in the Jersey 4-ball. Guys, maybe a little hungover, but how are we feeling today, Beau? What's happening?
Yeah, those golf hangovers are tough, man. The emotions they always hit you raw the next day. You know, you just can't stop thinking about certain shots, and you tend to start being hypercritical, and it's usually like a 24-hour process, and then you feel like you kind of turn the page. I'm starting to feel a little bit better now. It's 2:30. This morning was rough, but by tomorrow I'll be over it, and life goes on.
For sure. Yeah, know how it feels. It's all good. I haven't made quite a run like that, but that was cool to see. I guess to kind of jump right into the Jersey 4-ball and kind of the coverage of that event and your firsthand experience in it, making it to the final four groups. I guess I'll ask you, based on your game, do you think you could have gone all the way? Do you feel like you and Zach really had it?
Yeah, that's what really hurt. I mean, that last match we played in, we just kept getting better as the week went on. I felt like just knowing, by the time you go around a course 4 or 5 times, you really start kind of being able to just let instinct take over versus checking pin sheets every time. And you just kind of feel like you're just playing golf more. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I haven't played that much golf competitively in a short period of time like that ever. So you just start getting so dialed in to, like, when I got to the range yesterday morning, I'm like, this is the one shot that's bothering me. And I went to the putting green and I'm like, yeah, I pushed a couple putts yesterday and I want to know why. And I figured it out. And you're like, all right, I'm good to go. Like, I know where my game stands. So going into yesterday felt great because I knew exactly where the game was, what the misses were, whatever, and it just, we put on a really good effort yesterday. We just faced a team that was playing really well too. I think we would have beat either of the teams in the other. I mean, it's always easy to say that, but in the other bracket. It was just a great match. It was really an awesome week.
That's awesome. Really cool to see you guys take it that far and, win in some close matches. And even the one you lost in, went 18 holes. So that is pretty cool. How was the golf course, Hamilton Farm? Good shape, fun layout. I haven't played it myself, so you got to loop around it a bunch of times. What are your reflections on the course?
For that event, I really don't think it gets any better. I mean, every day waking up and going there just felt like heaven. I mean, the property is just it's hard to describe. I mean, really, it's just the whole thing kind of felt like a dream. It kind of felt like all those times on the road and playing those bullshit qualifiers and, hitting balls when you don't want to hit balls. Really felt like it paid off for experiences like that. And that's kind of what we were using to carry throughout the week. I'm like, I just don't want to go home. I just want to keep playing this course. I mean, it's too nice to go home. Conditions were incredible. I mean, everything about the place was perfect. Jersey ran a really great tournament. I got a club caddy who was fantastic. He even let me crash at his house on Wednesday night.
Incredible. How's the walk out there?
Real quick, I was going to sleep in the lot, but I didn't realize it was going to be 34 degrees that night.
Holy crap.
So that wouldn't have worked out. So he was kind enough to throw me a bed. But, the walk is brutal. It's a great walk because the course is so beautiful and you're so engrossed that you're not really paying attention to the toll it's taking on you. But yeah, that place is like a national park, man. It's up and down and it's a big piece of property.
Cool. That's fun. And from a, course kind of like strategy, playability standpoint, all that, like pretty fun. You kind of hit it off the tee and the approaches are good.
it's pretty wide open, but at the same time, there's thought in what angles you want to come in from, which obviously is always fun. There are some half shot penalties out there. It's not just like a complete bomb and gouge course. It's more nuanced than I gave it credit for. I only played there twice prior to this, and I thought it was more bomb and gouge. And as you play it every day, you see the nuances. You see where you want to be coming in from. You see when they get the greens really firm, those nuances even, showing out more. And it's just, yeah, it's a really good modern day golf course. I think that they have the ability to host something really big there if they like. And, I don't think anybody would be disappointed with that place.
That's awesome. So that's a Hurston and Fry course. They've done a number of good stuff. I'm actually seeing a few of theirs in the next few days. I'm seeing one this afternoon, Wild Rock out in Wisconsin Dells. And then Aaron Hills on Sunday. So looking forward to those. And they did Neshannock, right?
Yeah. So Aaron Hills, that's cool. Yeah, that's I think their highest ranked, I believe. I'm just running through my head here. I know they've done Shelter Harbor, which is fairly highly ranked. They've done Fieldstone, Glenmora, Jericho, like you said, Neshannock, and then Fry is doing the work down at Union League National. But I think out of all the ones that I've played of theirs, I think Hamilton's my favorite.
That's awesome.
They have this one hole that you would just absolutely love. It's so brilliant, and it's really the only time I've ever seen this. I think you can only do it with modern day architecture, and I haven't really seen anyone else do this, but they have a par 5 that's it's like 560. It's downhill. It's the 9th hole, and it's pretty severely downhill, but they set up all these speed slots on the hill with flats. So if you hit it on this, to hit the fairway is very easy, but to catch the speed slots, you have to neck it in certain areas. It's so brilliant because it lands one tier is 230, and then the next shot's downhill over water, very dramatic, really difficult green. And then the next tier is 200, the next tier is 170, and then it runs all the way down to 145. But the way it's graded is perfect because the exact way you hit it is what tier you get to.
So cool. That sounds like a lot of fun. It's it reminds me a little bit more of kind of or at least that's the way it sounds, a little bit more Scottish or English or Ireland golf, where, the fairways are big and there's tons of contours, and where your ball ends up is a little bit at the mercy of kind of some randomness and some bounces and stuff like that. I mean, unless the slots are big enough where you really think if you're actually that precise, you could maybe hit them. But I feel like most guys are just trying to hit the fairway, and if you hit the slots, you hit the slots, right?
Yeah, this fairway is probably 90 yards wide or 80 yards wide, and the slots are probably 15 yards wide each. So you can you don't have to absolutely neck one to hit it. So that's what makes it even more fun. It's you generally hit the line and you're okay, I caught the slot. I'm going to be at least at 200,
That's pretty cool.
So it's something as you play courses and as we take notes of things we like or things that are unique that we've seen and would like to see incorporated in, future designs, or you and I have obviously just, think about this stuff, and it's definitely something to throw in the notebook.
Okay. So real quick, want to get into some of the tournament in general. Was there any other matches or anything that impressed or surprised?
Well, the one guys shot 10 under in stroke play, which was obviously really good. But the course was certainly playing easier for the stroke play than it was the match play. And then they come back the next morning, and dude, it was pretty, fairly cold. When I say cold, mid 60s right in the morning. So the ball's not, flying like crazy. And the course is really firm, and it's 20, 25 mile an hour steady winds, 30, 35 gusts. And they were 8 under through 12.
I'm looking at their card now. That's insane. Yeah, they won 8
nobody
and 6
could believe it. I mean,
it's crushing.
Yeah, I mean, so wait, maybe one of the putts is again, whatever. But either way, they're just playing it's like pro level golf.
Yeah.
I mean, there's like,
Right.
you couldn't do any better out there. But it seems like a lot of times when those guys come out and get real hot like that, like you're always going to cool off over the long run of the tournament. And that kind of happened to them in the next match. That, the putts probably, dried up a bit, and they ended up losing the next match. But it looked like those guys were like, the whole time I'm just like, thank God those guys are on the other side of the bracket, because if we make the finals, at least by then because I felt like we were just going to keep getting better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, we're not ready to play these guys right now.
Yeah.
We need another 36 holes under our belt.
Okay, so to get into match play, you were in a playoff. How did you get through that playoff?
We kind of, even to get to 3 under, we were 1 over through 8, and I looked at Zach and was like, dude, we got to do something now. And then I eagled 9, he birdied 10, and we kind of got right back into the flow, and we were able to finish strong and get to 3, which we knew was going to be the number all day. And the playoff actually ended up being really easy because we were the third group off, and one of the group bogeyed the first hole. So it was a 7 for 6. All we needed to do was par the hole. So we both hit it down the middle. We both hit it to like 10 feet and just lagged it up, and that was it. But it was fun. It was a fun playoff. Yeah,
your first.
It was fun.
Match.
I was going to say real quick, Jerry Wall was in the playoff, the 2-time Gap Am champ who won back to back, and everybody talks about how like he's just not a good t-ball player, but his like the rest of his game is sick, and he got up and hit like a really weird squirrely t-ball on the playoff, like an iron like real back in his stance and like closed. It was just like a weird, like I kind of was watching him like, what's he trying to do here? And it just kind of scored it right on him. And then he proceeds to hit the next iron shot, like drops it over the trees to like 8 feet, like 6 shot. Like I was like, that seems like it checks out. 1 hole and I can see it.
Yeah, that's cool. So your first match, you won pretty handily. Played some Sakima guys, nice fellas.
Yeah, they were very nice. Certainly gentlemen. There was a joke going around about, if we lost, I had to get a Sakima tattoo. So glad that didn't happen. That would be a bad first tat for the guy. But I don't even know if they have a logo. So that would have been, I guess, the second question. But yeah, the South Jersey guys, I feel like we all stick together. We had a little contingent up there. Few of us got in the match play. So it was cool that we faced those guys the first round. And then, yeah, we, like you said, we got through there pretty. We just played solid golf, and they didn't have their best day, and the conditions were tough.
That's fun. So then you played Austin, who former Bronc as well, Ryder alum. He won the conference championships. He's been player of the year. He's won the Jersey Am, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's the top player in the state. He's legit. So for you guys to come out on top of that one is, I thought, pretty impressive in 19 holes.
Yeah, and his partner was the other podcast guy, so there was a little bit of that, podcast energy going too.
Battle of the Bronx at the same time.
Yeah, there was a lot of different storylines, and we really wanted to make sure the Slammers came out on top. But that was a really great match. It's fun when you set the tone in matches, like. So Austin drains a putt on the first hole for like 40 feet for birdie, and I'm in there for like 20, 25 feet. And he kind of, he kind of had a little explosion. He gave us a little bit of a boom. I think he just said like, let's go, kid, or something, whatever. It's like, all right, this is how it's going to be. That's cool with me.
Trying to steal that momentum early.
Yeah. No, I liked it. It was like, there was no flatlining here. It was like these guys came to play, and they were hyped. And yeah, I made it dead center right on top of them. I was like, all right, we're going to be in for a good match here. And then we proceed to just absolutely chop up the next 2 holes. Austin and I took like weird lost balls on 2. Like neither of us thought we should lose them. And he was one of those spotters down there that was just kind of like had no idea or, whatever. And then after the 3rd hole, the match just like totally settled in and was good golf from there on out.
Cool. And then the final 4, you played John Browndorf and Jack Strakanik. Really close match, back and forth kind of the whole way. Lost on 18. Sounded like, you guys were both just totally on.
Yeah, they another one. They came out and birdied the first 2 holes, and then we come out and I birdie 3 and 4 to get it back to even, and another one that like they kind of pushed us up against the wall. We were like, let's get it back to the middle of the ring. And after 4 holes and we're even, I'm like, it just felt like a match that was going to go 18 holes. Like we were both just kind of, when you're winning holes with birdies like that and everyone's playing well, you just kind of know in that stuff, we feel like worst case scenario, like the team's going to bogey 1 hole. You know what I mean? So you're going to need to make birdies to win holes. And anytime you have to do that, it just seems like it's going to be a tight match. And it was, we, the 14th hole, they eagled. We were in for birdie and Jack made an awesome eagle and, to get them to 1 up. And then we parred in. I felt like we were in better position on all of the finishing holes, and those guys are grinders. They're both competitors. They're both, proven players. Jack lost to Johnson Wagner in the Met Am finals back in the day, and John's played some USGA events, and he played for Rutgers, and he's won some big stuff. So really respected their games. They just put the ball in the hole, and down the stretch they just made up and downs and things just to stave us off. And it was a tough way to end the week, but overall just what a great experience and something I'll look back on very fondly.
That's awesome. Congrats again. The winners ended up being John Havey and Eric Diamond. I don't know much about Eric, but I played a lot of golf in high school with Havey. Great dude. He's always been a good player. And I think he's been caddying a long time and just playing a lot of golf, down in Florida in the winter and up here in the summer. So no surprise to see him doing well, playing well, winning. I think that's it. That's Jersey 4-ball. Anything else on that?
No, like I said, once again, the Jersey, we can maybe be a little overly critical of them, but the event was perfect. They did a really awesome job, and nothing but good things there.
Yeah, I agree. They do run good events. I haven't gotten into a ton of events, but the main events I agree are really good. They got to clean up those qualifiers a bit, but whatever. All right, so I know you're a little hungover from the 4-ball, but the best way to beat a hangover is to keep drinking. And you're going to keep drinking next week at the Mid-Am. You qualified for that a few weeks ago. The Gap Mid-Am, that is, at Old York Road starts on Monday. What are you looking forward to about that? And any predictions based on that field?
I know nothing about the course, so I can't even really give any type of educated lines or predictions or anything.
Just really hoping the greens are going to be firm and fast and take it from there.
Yeah, which it seems like they definitely should. Everybody you talk to says the conditions out there are awesome and the greens are always like really good. I'm hoping maybe to get out there Sunday night and just ride it quickly, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that happen or not. But if not, we'll just go in blind and make the best of it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm looking at that tee sheet. I mean, you got Cole Wilcox, Ben Cooley, John Rusk is out there. I feel like, at least these names I'm rattling off. You got to figure are favorites or close to it.
Well, unfortunately, it's down at the 4-ball's going on this weekend down at Kiowa, so it really could, eliminate a few, of our top guys from the field, because there you got Troy down there. And I was just talking to him. If they don't make match play, he's going to drive through the night and come back and play. But I don't know if Brown would do that or some of these other guys are going to do that. So, just a little bit wonky on the timing.
Yeah. Let's see. Mike Hyland's in the field. John Brennan.
That's good to see Mikey out there. He hasn't really been playing it much. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Looks there's a lot of players in that field. That'll be interesting. I guess we'll see what happens. Kind of a little bit of a mystery event. At least to us, but great format, 36-hole stroke play, and hopefully make that cut and play the final round and see what happens.
Well, supposedly, yeah, exactly. Well, supposedly they have the Old York Invitational out there, and I think that usually the winning number I've heard is around like even or, maybe even a couple over. So you'd like to think the number would be similar. It's a very similar field. I know they get a really strong turnout for that Invitational. So maybe a couple under wins the Gap Mid-Am, but I would think that the scores would be comparable. It doesn't seem like anybody really rips that place up.
Right. Oh, I see. Yeah, Mike Brown's in the field too, but maybe he's down at that US 4-ball. I guess we'll see.
Does he have like one of the last tee times? Because that's what Troy did, I guess, just in case they don't make it.
Relatively, he's got a 120 or something like that, 110 in the last tee time, or 12. What is he? He's 12:30. Last tee time's 150. So Troy is the last tee time.
Yeah. So if those two guys aren't in the field, that certainly helps everybody else, because it's not only are they good, but that course seems to be good for both of those guys. And you would almost be, if they play, you kind of would be surprised if they weren't like right around the lead.
For sure. Yeah, you got to figure they're taking a few of those top spots. John Barone, I've seen his name around. I know he's a good player. He lit up and medaled some qualifier I played in a few years ago. Just like shot some number that was like 5 or 6 shots better than everybody. Up at Valley Country Club. I don't know too much about him.
Yeah, he's like a Glen Mara guy, I think. Yeah.
All right. Cool. Well, see what happens to the Mid-Am. Keep an eye on that. Follow up next week. And then I guess we can kind of segue into the US 4-ball, which we already mentioned a little bit. But who are our guys from the section playing in that?
Yeah, so looking at the tee times now, you got from North Jersey, you got the MGAA Player of the Year, the Met Player of the Year from last year, Bradford Tilley, and Pat Wilson. You got Chris Beloga's in the field. He is from Maryland, but he plays in some of the Gap stuff. Coach at Loyola, Maryland, really, really solid player. He's made some runs in the US Mid-Am before. And then you got Mike Brown and Pete Barron. You got Troy and Jack Irons. You got our boy Tyler, our old rider Bronx, Tyler and Eric out there, Burlington and LaFont.
They are perennial players in that event, I feel like.
Yeah, we played with them in the qualifier last year at North Jersey, and that's when I was like really whiffling the ball around, and I just felt so inferior with playing those two guys.
I remember you calling me and just saying, yeah, they're really good.
I mean, they were they had the craziest start ever. They were 6 under through 5 at North Jersey Country Club. I think they shot like 8 under on the front. It was like ridiculous. They were like 4 under through 4, and then the 5th hole they like dunked one for eagle, and I'm just like,
it's absurd.
There was a hole where, like I said, I was really, like, I was hitting the driver straight, but like absolutely nowhere at the time. I mean, it was just feather balls, right? And Eric is just, both of those guys are long, but they're like, Eric just hits the center of the face on every shot. After I just hit like a toe, toe flippy, whatever, nose diver that, ran up the left side, probably went 240. I look over at Eric, he's leaning on his driver, and I look over at it, and the guy's got a ball mark on there about the size of a nickel, a wear spot. And I'm just like looking at my driver, and it's just like Happy and Gilmore balls with it all day, right? It's just like the ball marks everywhere. It's like
paint splatter art.
Yeah, it was one of those. I was just like, I had so much hands in my swing at the time. Like, who knows at what point was it going to catch the face, right? Like, it could be the toe, could be the heel, could be like maybe 1 in 15 I could time up,
That's funny. I know the feeling.
But sometimes you lie to yourself, right?
Sure.
When you're not playing like competitive golf, or you're not playing with guys that are like significantly better than you, and then you play with guys like that, and you're just like, I need to get better, like a lot better.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good feel. I mean, you want to feel that as much as you can, even though it's a little unpleasant. I mean, geez. Yeah, those guys are good. All right. That's the That's 4 ball. Good luck to all our guys out there. I think that kind of covers the section stuff. My road trip is kind of just getting started, but I saw a couple good courses in Minneapolis.
What have you been hitting up out there? What guys?
So I saw two Ross courses and one Rainer. So all good stuff. The Ross courses I think weren't routed by Ross, but had pretty distinct Ross feels to them. Kind of, I think he did, maybe a little bit more of the plan for the execution or whatever of laying out the holes aside from the routing. But they're good. Minneapolis Golf Club is awesome. It's a nice big property, not cramped at all. Just a real championship feel out there. The greens weren't lightning, but just a lot of really solid holes. Maybe one bad one, which I feel like is rare for Ross to even have like a bad hole. The 13th I didn't love, but whatever. It's fine. And then the other Ross I played was Minnetonka, which is like a super old money, like, it's like the old money club. Or, well, I guess there's Interlaken and Hazeltine, but Minnetonka used to be accessible only by boat. It's like on the other side of this lake from downtown. So it gives you a feel of what kind of money you needed to have back in the day to play out there. But it does. It's like one of those cresty type ones. So very elitist looking. But North Jersey, kind of waspy, that whole vibe. But it's good. Place is cool. Tiny property, that one, Minnetonka. I mean, really small. And like we always say about Ross, I mean, he is just a whiz on small properties. I mean, that place doesn't feel cramped at all. And I saw maybe one of the best restoration jobs I've ever seen out at Minnetonka. And it wasn't recent either. It just looked so good. I haven't sent you a picture of it yet, but they did this whole bunkering around these like hills that are kind of like an amphitheater around the 13th green, and it just looks so classic. It almost looks like something like out of like kind of like out at Cyprus with like tons of sand, but like tufts of grass like within the sand all kind of through it. It's amazing look and feel. And I think that was a Ron Pritchard job.
Ron and Tyler, yeah.
So.
Tyler's the man up, but yeah, that sounds pretty cool. I'm almost getting kind of like 17 Waste Hazard at Baltusrol vibes, or am I just way off?
I'll send it to you. I'm having trouble remembering that one, but yeah, it's so good. Or maybe I'll post it on our Slammers Weekly account and just be like, man, this is the best. It's just such a good vibe. The hole is good too, but it's just from like an aesthetic perspective, which, isn't worth everything, but it's worth something. And it just really sends the vibes off the charts there, I feel like. But anyway, that's Minnetonka. And then Minnesota Valley is a 1924 Seth Rayner. Also a small property. And that one's good. It felt kind of parky, and it wasn't the most like majestic, or grand, Rayner course I've seen, or maybe the least. But really good. The second hole is a Redan that's incredible. Probably the second best, maybe third best I've played to Somerset and Sleepy Hollow. But
did Rayner, was that, even though it was a small property, was it still a very linear design?
It was still a very linear design, which isn't quite as well. Yeah, I feel like it's more necessary on small properties, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think to maximize your space, you can't be kind of crossing all over the place. And you can jam some dog legs in the perimeters of the property, but you're probably going to get a lot of back and forth straight holes,
Right. Yeah, that's about what it was.
What would you, when you say like had Ross vibes, what do you, when you say that, what do you mean by Ross vibes? I'm just curious.
So a lot of it was, restored too, and to like kind of that original kind of Ross intent vibe. But to me, Ross vibes are, those flat bottomed bunkers with kind of like the rippled edges, like just the gently rippled edges. Big greens. Some of them are going to be like pretty flat with subtle contours. You get those kind of horizontally laid out bunkers at different points along the hole. That's kind of what.
That's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point with the bunkers. He does like a lot of horizontal bunkers.
Yep. And like spaced out with like 40, 50 yards in between, kind of like one on one side, one on the other, and then one back on the other side, something like that. That kind of is kind of a pretty distinct Ross feel, I feel like.
Yeah, from what I've seen, his greens are kind of all over the place. Like that's when because it's funny,
Yes.
You grow up in Jersey and everyone's like, Riverton's got a lot of false fronts and, Lulu's got some false fronts, and you kind of just associate Ross with false fronts and perched up greens type of deal. But when you play his courses all around, he was really good at adjusting the greens based upon the terrain and, the yardages of the course and everything else.
Yeah, no, he had no style. I think on each course, there were like 2 greens on each course that were pretty kind of dome-like. But it just showed that, he had no particular style. He'd kind of adapt to anything. On at Minneapolis Golf Club, there's one really great kind of like 3/4 punch bowl type green. It's really fun. There's no, this is the way Ross made all his greens.
And back to him with the small properties, it's as much as, Flynn's still my favorite. It's hard, and I haven't played everybody's courses everywhere, right? Like obviously, how many good ones Maxwell has down in the Midwest and some of these other guys. But from what I've seen, Flynn's my favorite. But for whatever reason, and I don't know if it was just by design, but he really doesn't have any small property courses. Like his properties are all so sprawling. You think of like Lancaster and Rolling Green and Huntington and Lehigh. You just wonder if it was by, if it was purposeful to say, hey, we have this big property. We know that Flynn's going to give us the best course with this property. I don't know. It's weird. I can't think of any of his courses that are jammed at all.
Yeah. Or was he particular with the jobs that he took?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like an actor just kind of just say, no, I'm good. He did do Bala in Philly. I've never played it, but I don't know how much work he really put into that, right? It's a small, you can't, it's so.
I have played that one. It is a small property.
It's so small that you can't even really build a legitimate golf course on it, right? So it's almost like you just kind of throw it out the window.
Right. Yeah. There's a couple of good holes out there, but yeah, it is a really, really, really small property.
Yeah. What else is next?
Yeah. Well, a couple good ones on deck. Wild Rock this afternoon, a Hurston and Fry course. I'm off tomorrow. Just going to be goofing around. And then Sunday doubleheader, West Bend Country Club, which is a Langford and Moreau, who I saw one of their courses for the first time at Wakanda. Kind of a Midwest Golden Age duo, steam shovel guys. So they're pretty cool, fun to check out some of their work. I've got some more of them later in the trip. And then Aaron Hills on Sunday. And then, it continues. Just so many in a row. I got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I'll catch you up. There's a lot there's so much, but that's all I can think of for now. The van is holding up and all is well. So as long as the van keeps rolling and I don't throw out my back, then this trip should be pretty good.
I don't even want to ask you for the pod to know if you've drug anything into that van yet. Maybe we'll talk about it offline, but
we'll have to circle back on that one.
All right. Well, cool. Well, next time we catch up, we'll have some Mid-Am stuff to talk about, and we'll have some there'll be some more stuff. The US 4-ball. Hopefully, some of our guys in the area can do well. Good luck to everybody competing in that, and I think that's all I have.
Sweet. Well, congrats again to you and Zach on your run in the Jersey 4-ball. It's awesome. And we'll catch up again soon. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and keep tuning in. This is Slammers Weekly.